Alrighty. So we are from the Beta Alpha Psi chapter at Open Dominion University, and we're going to be talking about Budgeting 101 today. So you may ask yourself, what is budgeting? And budgeting is a daily, weekly, monthly, or annual plan about how you're going to spend your money. Some factors you'll need to consider when you are making your budget include your rent, or utility bills, things of that nature, as well as you want to incorporate some savings in there, whether it be for presents for other people and special occasions, or a savings that you don't touch at all, and an emergency fund as well. And we'll go into how to make a basic budget. So you'll need to find out your net pay after taxes. So that'll typically be on your pay stub. And then you're going to want to list out all the expenses that you pay throughout your month or week, whatever you want to make your time frame for your budget. So a good way to decide on the time frame for your budget would be to base it off of how often or when you get paid. So typically people get paid every 2 weeks. So you might want to make your first budget for the next 2 weeks that you have. And you can list out bills that'll be paid on certain days, and savings, as well as your car payments and groceries. You'll want to make sure that you write down exactly how much fixed expenses will be. So if you constantly contribute $50 or something to your savings account, then you're going to want to make sure you write that down. And then you'll also want to estimate about how much your expenses will be on things like groceries or gas. And yeah, you'll want to make sure you make a timeline so you know exactly when all your expenses or all your bills are due. And also, yeah, leave some money for playroom or miscellaneous or unforeseen items. So that could be like your car randomly breaks down, or you get invited to go out with the girls or something, like you're going for lunch, or maybe like a nice Starbucks trip to treat yourself after a long week. So you'll want to incorporate some of that in there as well. So that leads us to do's and don'ts for your budget. So one of the things that you want to do is set a goal, and you can compare the do's and don'ts of a budget to a diet or exercising. So setting a goal, like setting a weight goal, it'll help you measure how well you're doing and where you want to be. And it'll also give you a bit more motivation. And you can start off with like shorter periods of time. So let's say that you want to start getting into going to the gym more often. So you can start by saying, okay, I want to go to the gym twice a week. And then you can expand upon that once you get more into a cycle of going to the gym. So you can go to the gym 3 times a week or 4 times a week. And so that's what shorter periods of time is an example of. Reflecting on previous periods. So let's say that like you were doing pretty well, and then Thanksgiving hit, like I think most of us felt, and you just didn't go to the gym afterwards. So you'll need to reflect on that and see if it's just a fluke, or if you really do need to assess your goals and how you're going to get there. And most importantly, you want to be honest with yourself. You know yourself the best, and if you happen to spend a lot more money on your Starbucks than you probably should, then you're going to want to remember that, because your spending habits are a little bit harder to adjust. So you're going to want to wean yourself off of getting Starbucks like every day. Some don'ts include don't use someone else's budget, because your budget is very specific to you and where you want to be. So let's say that you want to, I don't know, go to a concert or something. I know like with COVID, you can't really do that these days, but yeah, let's say you want to go to a concert or go on some sort of vacation. Maybe it's just a self or by yourself sort of trip or whatever. But just because you have something that you want to go to doesn't necessarily mean that like someone else is going to have the same sort of situation. So your savings goals might be different than someone else's. And then also don't have a strict budget. You want to have a wiggle room, like I said in or on the last slide. So if you do feel like treating yourself every now and then, or there's like a special occasion that comes up, you're going to want to have a little bit more flexibility when those things occur. And don't worry if you make a mistake. Like the dieting sort of analogy I said earlier. Sometimes you'll have like a cheat day every now and then. I follow Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on Instagram, and I've seen his cheat days, and they are pretty thick, if I do say so. Amon's like, yeah, I go for those like 3 donuts for like dessert on my cheat days. So yeah, like don't worry if you make a mistake or if you have a bit of a cheat or go over your budget just a tad. As long as it's nothing too major, you'll be able to recover from it, especially if you have the right discipline and mentality to go into it. And another thing that you could do is you could have someone else also create a budget with you, so you can keep yourself kind of in check, like having a gym buddy, making sure that you don't like cheat on your diet or like you show up at the gym, or you guys are going out and window shopping and you really want to buy something and your friend says, well, you don't really need that. So having a friend or someone to look out for you can keep you accountable for everything.
Okay, so take control, request control. Let's see, do I have it now? Okay, so hopefully, do I just have to click?
Yeah, click when you're ready, Amon, but like you can do the slide first.
Okay, so when it comes to the payday cycle, the ultimate goal is making sure that your paycheck lasts your entire cycle. So depending on what your cycle is, you need to budget accordingly. So it could be once a week, twice a month, once a month, but the goal is to make it last. So whenever you get a chance to just sit down, just, at your kitchen table, and first you want to write down how often. So you want to write down your cycle time. And then secondly, you want to budget and see what you can spend and what you can't spend to make it last that entire period. So 2 majors: knowing your cycle and budgeting for making it last. So let me see if I can. I don't think it's working. Let's see. Oh, I think I need to go back. Is that me clicking? Okay. So here's an example of basically just budgeting your payday cycle. So let's say you make $1,000 every 2 weeks and you have $300 for bills and $100 for your savings. So automatically you have to deduct $400 from that 1,000 because that's what you're gonna automatically put your money towards when you get that paycheck. So then you have the $600 to spare, and over that 2-week period, which is 14 days, that $42.85 is your daily budget. So, try your best to either spend less or just that $42.85. Okay, let's see. I think I can. There we go. So for the people who have irregular paydays, you want to know your fixed costs and your variable costs. So your fixed costs are, the costs that are going to be the exact same, like every month, every week. And then you have your variable costs like gas and groceries and things of that nature that, may vary. So you'll have to sit down and first go over how much you made. Since it's irregular, go over how much you have at the moment and how much that you've made. And then obviously, first thing you want to do is deduct your fixed cost because you already know what that cost is going to be. And then you move on to deducting your variable costs. And hopefully, if you prepare accordingly, you'll have, enough room in your budget. So, okay, I think it's you, Tanya. Y'all are muted, all three
I had to unmute first. Okay.
of you.
I was like, it won't let me unmute. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, so hi, I'm Tanya. And to kind of go on with what Iman was talking about with the irregular payday cycle, here's a really good example. So you get paid once a week, and your hours obviously are going to vary unless you work full time always or if you're salary. But if you're not, then you're going to work variably. So say you work 25 hours and you get paid $10 an hour. And then during week 1, you have to pay your car insurance. And then on week 2, you may work 18 hours and get paid the same rate. And during week 2, you then have your cell phone bill. So with budgeting with an irregular payday cycle, during your first week, your gross pay will be about $250. And then you have your car insurance, which is your fixed cost, at $100. And then you want to have your savings, of course. So you're going to have $25 aside. And then remaining, you'll have that $125. And then that is how you budget. You'll divide it by the 7 days for until your next pay cycle. So you'll have approximately about $17.85 a day until your next pay cycle. And then with week 2, you'll have your gross pay of the $180 with working your 18 hours. And then you'll have your cell phone bill, which will probably be about $70. And then you have more money to put in your savings with the $25. And then remaining, you'll take the rest of that again and divide it by 7 days. And then that'll give you about $12.14 a day until your pay cycle. A really good thing about this is this is pretty much you doing your budgeting. Like this is you taking your pay, figuring out what costs you have and setting it all aside, and then figuring out what you have left over. And so like Jessica was talking about, you may want to give yourself a treat. So you'll figure out with the amount of money that you have left over, then you'll see like, yeah, I have $17.85 a day I can pay left still. So, I may just want to go grab that coffee, that little special treat. And then, oh, how do you go? Do I click? How does it go? Oh, I see. Just kidding. Sorry. So the step down method is a useful way to start managing some of your spending habits. So when you have something you buy multiple days a week, then you would try to start cutting it out at least once a day, or cut out one day. Sorry, not once a day, but one a day, or one day. Sorry. Once that becomes comfortable, then you try to cut out another day. A really good example of this is, we'll just go back to coffee, because I mean, I'm a coffee drinker. I will admit that. I love it. And I love getting, going through the drive-through because it's so easy. So because of that convenience, it makes you want to go more often. And knowing that you're probably going to be going through the drive-through and having that convenience, it's probably best to sit there and say, well, on average, I'm probably spending like $30 a week on coffee. If I was to cut one day out of getting coffee, which to be honest is probably like 2 coffees, one on my way to work and one on my way home, so that'll save me some money. And then once I feel like, I don't need my coffee every single day, and then I can cut another day. So you're going to end up saving more money, and then you can put that towards something else that you can budget towards, like you can buy more actual groceries. You can buy coffee to make in your coffee pot at home, and you'll save money that way. So yeah, that's a really good example, and I think that's it for budgeting. So thank you for listening. I hope you all learned a lot.